If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out.
Show for Wednesday, April 10th, 2013. I'm your host, Jeff Commings. Joining us today in the Finis Monitor will be Anthony Ervin. The two-time Olympian will be racing this week at the Arena Grand Prix in Mesa, Arizona, alongside some pretty tough competition. And he joins us now from Berkeley, California. Hey, Tony, it's good to see you. How are you today?
How you doing, Jeff? I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right, thanks. So how's your day going so far?
So far, so good. Got the morning off, so got to enjoy a nice long breakfast before coming to meet you.
Well, that's always a sprinter's dream, getting to take the morning off.
Well, it's more rare than you'd think, even as a sprinter.
So give us an idea of what a typical day is like for you.
Typical day? Morning workout, eats a bunch of food, try to get a nap, get ready for afternoon lift session, and then another swim. And after that, kind of have the day to myself, whether that's trying to get some work done or trying to enjoy my friends. That's basically it. Day in, day out.
In terms of when you said getting work done, what does that mean?
Yeah, just like emails, just having to write stuff, just the professional side of work. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with that, right?
Yes, very much so. I do remember that. So I know that you've got a lot of artistic endeavors. I know you play the guitar, and I know you were doing some art on the side. How much of let's say a week is devoted to all that?
You may be slightly misled. I don't really do any art. I mean, I play guitar. I love music. I spent a majority of my time when I was 10 years ago doing all that jazz, but nowadays, not so much. Sometimes it's just, it helps me decompress if I pick up my acoustic and just kind of strum along a little bit. But for the most part, it's, my art is my swimming now.
That's a good way to put it. It's well documented that after you retired 10 years ago, that your life was basically like a series of episodes with a little bit of very little cohesion to it. Do you like it now that there is a little bit more structure to your day and your life?
I think it's more suitable to the phase that I'm in right now. And while I suppose from the outside it's easy to look at it, or the way that it was articulated was that it was there wasn't much cohesion, but I mean, I don't know. I think I did things the way I needed to when I was younger, and I have a pretty clear vision of what it meant to me and what I was doing and what I was about. But now I just feel like in this phase, I just want to, the structure of the organization helps me accomplish more, and that gives me more satisfaction, and it helps. And I'm allowed to relate that to the rest of the world in a manner that is just more suitable to my age in a way. I mean, maybe I could have done it when I was younger, but I wasn't ready for it. It wasn't for me then. But that's not to say that everybody else couldn't do it just fine.
So you're saying maybe you, I don't want to say matured, but grown up a little bit more in these past few years?
Yeah, you can absolutely say matured, but I'd use mature.
Well,
Maturity.
a mature man would say it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I saw you a couple weeks ago at the men's NCAAs cheering on the Cal Golden Bears. Was that your first time at the meet since you had swum for Cal?
No. Actually, I was there 2 years ago when we won for the first time in 30 years, and at that point, that was a huge turning point for me, because it was, there was so much passion, and I couldn't have even made it through the 4 years of college if it wasn't for my team and my friends on that team. I probably would have washed out of swimming even earlier, probably as soon as after that first World Championships in 2001, which was just like my sophomore year. So I had just great love for my team. And when I went back, we were all there, a lot of my teammates that I swam with, and then seeing all the old alums and we were all there to kind of support the current generation of Golden Bear as they won their first title, and that was so huge that, at the time I was kind of just like working out, just like getting into shape, getting familiar with swimming again. But it was after seeing that and after experiencing the NCAA championship as a spectator that's what kind of committed me. I was like, I want to compete again. I want to go back to a meet myself.
Well, I'm sure that's definitely kind of the catalyst that a lot of people have is when they're out of the sport for so long and then they go to a meet and they see it kind of relives the whole vibe and the whole energy that you feel of racing again. And so did you ever feel at that point 2 years ago that you said, okay, this is serious, I'm going for Olympic trials, going to try to make the Olympic team?
I mean, I always wanted to keep thoughts of like the Olympic team as far away as possible, because that kind of psychological burden would have crippled me when I was so far removed from my potential at that time. But Olympic trials, sure. I mean, I put myself back into the drug testing pool when I came out of retirement. What was that in January of 2010? So it wasn't even like my idea. That was Terry McKeever. She was like, just in case you want to compete again, just in case you want to go to trials, you should do it now, so that way you won't regret it if it's too late down the line for you to actually submit it and get it done, because they have like that 9 months or 12 months waiting period before they allow you to compete again. So, like I was back in the pool at that point for NC2As, but I hadn't actually had any serious thoughts about wanting to compete and trying to, deliver my best as a swimmer until after that NC2As.
And then probably this year was a little bit bittersweet. Cal got second to Michigan, but then your former coach at Cal, Mike Bottom, was the head coach of the Michigan team. So I don't know, what were your thoughts when on that last day when you see Cal second and Michigan first?
Well, I'm always going to be proud of my Golden Bears. They did great. I think that after 2 incredibly successful years, that now they get a little bit of vision, and Dave Durden has this quote in his office. It says, when you don't get what you want, what you get is experience. And I'm pretty sure a lot of those guys on that team, they're going to be taking away some experience. So hopefully they'll come back next year with a little bit more passion, a little bit more discipline, and a little bit more of wanting to win. That being said, I was so happy for Mike. Not only was he my coach when I was younger, but he was always like my friend. He was always concerned about Anthony the person, and who I needed to grow up to be, rather than just trying to only get me to be a fast swimmer that he can turn and burn over from one generation to the next. So seeing Michigan win it all, I mean, they're not blue and gold, but what are they? They're maize and blue. Thrilled. Still very happy for him and his family. Like, he deserves it big time.
What did you think to see Vlad Morzov go that 1786 on the relay?
To be honest, I didn't even see it. I only heard about it afterwards because I was watching my Bears. But that's just ridiculous. I mean, I saw the 100 and I saw the 50 individual. Just crazy speed. I mean, how does the guy is like a dart coming off of the starts and the turns, and he catches so much water with those first couple strokes, and then he's able to just hold on to the end of that 25 just each time, just bam, bam, bam. It's incredible, considering I always thought I was the small guy in sprinting. I'm always outweighed heavily by my competition. Usually they got at least an inch or two, sometimes 6 inches on me. But he's not that big, so I think it's great. It's incredible what he's doing, and I think it really gives a lot of motivation to other sprinters out there who feel like they have to be like this huge tank of a muscle man in order to be the top of the event.
Yeah, definitely. And it's gotten fast in long course too. What are your goals this week for your 50 and your 100 in Mesa?
Honestly, I'm pretty broken down. I had such a long competition season, like through the World Cups, short course worlds, and directly into more Grand Prix, and then I went to Europe. So I haven't really been able to like buckle down and train for quite a while. So I hit it really hard these last 3 weeks since I've been back. As you can tell by the beard, this is kind of like the symbol of hard training. Um, so I'm really just hoping for a second swim in Mesa because I'll tell you one thing, I'm not feeling very fast.
Well, and sometimes in sprinting, I've seen that some people who are working, especially in their power phase, they find that speed that they didn't think they had in workout.
I mean, that could happen. I'm hoping that I can find some of that speed, but I also know that I am capable of just moving towards just thrash, where the extra power is undirected and ill applied, and I just start breaking and shattering the water instead of really holding it real good and smooth and being fast because of that.
And you probably took a little bit from Vlad, seeing how well he was able to get into those strokes. Probably came back and said, okay, this is maybe not the exact thing I need to do, but maybe kind of a guideline of what is possible.
Certainly.
Anything's possible. And of course, he's probably going to be your competition if you go to make the World Championship team. Speaking of that, if you make the World Championship team and you win the 50 free at Barcelona, is there kind of a plan to get more ink on you at all? Is that kind of the what happens when you do something big in swimming?
I'm sorry, you cut out for a moment when you said, "Do I plan to do what?"
Do you plan to get more ink? Do you plan to get more tattoos
Get
if you
more,
have a
get
successful
more.
summer?
Um, success or no success, really. That's not contingent upon like what I do with my body and with the tattoo. I mean, that's kind of like that's my story that I put in the body. It's like whether I win or not is kind of that's not it. We're
Well,
missing the mark a little bit,
is there
Jeff.
is there any interesting story you could tell about any of the tattoos that you've gotten recently?
No, I haven't really gotten any recently. I've just been working on the two major pieces that I started, many, many years ago. So there's nothing new. There's no fresh image. There's just been, you know, um, applying of a new layer to what was existing artwork.
Very interesting. Before we go, I want to talk about this movie trailer, and I guess maybe I should put movie trailer in quotes that went online. I'm sure very purposefully on April 1st. Now, if it hadn't shown up on April 1st, I think a lot of people would have been like, oh my goodness, Anthony Ervin is looking to get into an acting career. I mean, tell us about that trailer where you're basically, it's you and a girl who are walking on the beach and in love, and she decides to go back to Spain, and you decide that you can't be without her, and so you decide to swim across the ocean and be with her in Spain.
Yeah, true story. True story. No, actually, that was something I did last year, and it went up on April 1st. It was actually on the Microsoft network, and I guess it kind of flew under the radar because I hadn't kind of revealed myself so much yet, I guess, in the swimming community. But yeah, that was actually last year's work, and I just kind of, it's April Fool's Day again. This is still good. But as far as gonna be any movies or any acting, it seems kind of unlikely. And although I do come from Los Angeles, although I was born in Hollywood, I don't know if the silver screen is where you're gonna most likely find me anytime soon.
Well, I know that the swimming career is going to take you probably through at least 2016. But if looking beyond that, do you have career aspirations, or are you the type of person who just wants to kind of just stay in the moment?
Well, obviously, I do have aspirations, but I also am much better at, I shouldn't say much better. I do live in the moment. And I am very keenly aware that whatever aspirations and plans I may architect for myself can change. I wasn't planning to be, like right now I'm across the digital the world with you, talking about swimming and how I'm preparing for like world championships and whatnot, when a year ago this was not what I was thinking I'd be doing, you know. So my career path, or where I decided to go with my life, is, I mean, it's changed so many times, and I've always just wanted to go with it when I wanted to go with it. And you know, so while I do have aspirations, I don't know, it's more than a specific thing. It's more of a style that I want to continue to embody and live in the future. And that's not a specific thing, you know. Like for instance, I want to continue to travel for work. You know, I really enjoyed, and it's tough. You know, like it put a definitive toll on me to be away for so long. But I think because of its challenge, because it takes, I think, a certain kind of constitution in order to be away and continue to find ways of improving yourself while abroad, or just doing work wherever you are, that you know, that's the kind of lifestyle I want to have. So even if I'm not swimming, I hope that I still get to do that. Or I mean, are you catching my drift? Like, that's not a specific job per se, but it's a style of living, it's a style of working that I want to continue with.
Well, I think that's a good foundation to lay down, and then, you know, once this starts to become a reality, then you can start building on that, I think.
For sure.
Well, it's good that you're living in the moment. You can't argue with the success you're having with it. So don't try to change anything for us.
Don't worry, I won't.
All right, stay just the way you are, Tony. We're always like seeing you around on deck, and we'll look forward to seeing you this week in Mesa.
Right on. See you then, Jeff.
All right. So that was Anthony Ervin joining us today in the Finis Monitor, and we'll be covering this week's Arena Grand Prix from all angles, from race recaps to video interviews and our race day analysis show. We'll hope you join us starting tomorrow on swimmingworld.com. And that's going to do it for today's Morning Swim Show. I'm Jeff Commings. Thanks for watching.